show you, how the students react, how they reacted to this robot. Okay, so you see, they're smiling faces. Later on I will show you, when students were learning the same learning content, one class with the running robot, the other one just traditional way, then later on you will see. So look at their faces, okay? So we conducted several pilot studies to those kids. See, they look so happy. So I will just jump to the experiment that we after we collected data and we try to modify and try to talk to the class, the English teachers. Maybe he or she need to adjust or just try to design his or her course content in order to adapt to ours. Okay, so later on we use these learning companions in the real English class setting, and in addition to that, we go to collect and to evaluate, how the users, here users means the students and also the English teachers perceive the uses of this tangible technology in their English classes. So, of course, those are our research questions. We would like to know those questions. What are the students and instructors' feedback and the perception toward uses of the learning companions in English classes? What were students' learning process, attitude, effectiveness, use of learning companions in English class? What role could the robot, the tangible companion play in learning English? Would the tangible learning companion make the classroom atmosphere differently? How did learners use the learning companions when they practice English conversation, whether in groups or even individually? We have different groups of our graduate students in the classroom to shoot the videos and a lot of data for us to observe and to analyze. So in order to understand, what would be the difference between the experimental groups and also the control groups. Okay, so we use two classes of the fifth graders in elementary schools. So we divided them into group A, that means experimental groups, and the group B, the control groups. That means they just follow the traditional way to practice English conversation with the classmates or just the teachers. And the A, of course, they use the robot for English conversation. And that's the study framework and the research flow we use. We also ask them to do the pre-test and also post-test. And we have this kind of treatment and use the robot as their conversation partners during their practice time. Okay, I hope you can understand this. This looks, now I just think, oh, this one quite like the campus of this University of Victoria, a big circle. This morning we came from a big circle, look at here, but here we already have this diagram before, okay? Say, so the learner and how the learner and the robot interact with each other, okay? So this is see some pictures from the class, They have to fill out some questionnaires, do some pre-test, and look at their faces.
Yes.
What do you see? Happy children, right? At least they don't fear. No, don't ask me. They were really very happy. I think there's another set of pictures. Let me see. Oh, I'll give you this one. from experimental groups and also the control group. What you see here, you know, very often if students did not have interest, they just fell asleep or they just lie their face on the desk, you know. And actually before I went to we conducted some other research projects. We went to the elementary schools, and most of the students, particularly for those so-called lower achievement students, they just give up, okay? Very bad. So see, the students in each picture, they were very happy, but here, you know, they have to read that and to interact with other students, and they pay attention to the sheets in front of them, and some students just fell asleep, okay? So I think now I'm showing you some results, okay? So from the data analysis, students and the instructors' feedback and perception of using tangible learning companions, okay? Students reported that the learning companions were easy to use and that they experienced no difficulty at operation them, just like, you know, and the pronunciation of learning companion was clear and the volume was adequate. You know, we want to ask them to evaluate the learning companion. Most of the learners like the appearances of the tangible learning companions. And the instructors, the English teacher also show positive attitude toward using tangible learning companions. He and she, because they have more than one English teachers, okay, so they work together. They say, okay, it's like my TA, little TA in the English classes. And here, you know, regarding the learning process and the motivation, attitude, and classroom atmosphere of using the learning companion, we get this data like this. You know, learners in the experiment group display much higher learning concentration and engagement with the learning materials than those in the control group during the instructional time. And during the practicing time, because, you know, in order for let the children, the targeted students to use the technology, we further divided those students into different groups, okay? So each group contains of, like on the average, 5 students, okay? So we put students of high achievement, middle achievement, and lower achievement together, mix them in the same group, okay? So we want to see whether, how they use that. And during the practicing time, you know, the learners in each subgroups of experimental group were highly interested in practicing English conversation with other classmates and also the tangible learning companions. You know, after they play with that tangible robot, they would like to practice English conversation with other group members. So that's really very, very good, you know. So contrary to those in the experimental group, learners in the control groups were well behaved, you know, because, you know, that's always the way. When, you know, in our society, teachers are relatively more, how to say that word? Authoritative, right? Okay, so when the teacher say, okay, you need to do that, most of the students were like, okay, just very behaving, you know, but they lose their interest. They just, oh, I feel sleepy, okay. So, but their motivation and engagement in learning were not as strong as those in the experimental groups. And furthermore, you know, it was noted that the lower achievement learners in control group even gave up learning due to some kind of frustration because, you know, I could not read it. I could just spell the word, so I don't want to do that, you know. So the situation could be worse in the group practicing time as a lower achievement student had nothing to do and felt bored, and other students were practicing English conversations in pairs. So that's what we observed when I think I already showed you the pictures. So in terms of learning effectiveness of the experimental group and the control group, the data indicate that there are significant differences between the pre-test and post-test Likert score in the experimental group. In contrast, no obvious differences were found between the pre-test and post-test score of the control groups. So in addition to that, we could concluded two learning methods when they were interacting with the learning robot. It's quite interesting. We can observe and then we can find out the pattern. So we say there are two methods. One is so-called co-discovery learning method. The other one is the peer tutoring learning method. Very interesting. The different groups interacted with the chickens were different. So the one we call that a co-discovery learning method. That means learner put tangible learning companions at the center, okay, of the table, and they concentrate on it. They just want to say, let's follow it. And every member practice English with a learning companion actively and exchange the tips of how to operate it correctly. Very interesting. They just like a little teacher. Okay, I know how to do that. Okay, I'll show you, and they just follow me. They take turns. Very interesting. The other group, other method, we call that a peer tutoring learning method. They practice English conversation with learning companions one by one, and the previous learner taught the next how to use it correctly. But sometimes we also notice that when they could not pronounce very well, so the talking robot would give different utterance or different response. That's very interesting. But sometimes the noise background would interfere their learning. So sometimes the overall learning environment is also important. So that's we show how they use that. This is a co-discovery learning method, and this one is a peer tutoring. Take turns, you see. This one go this way, and this one is at the center. That's how the learner interacted with this kind of learning robot. Okay, so here I'd like to give you some conclusion here in terms of this learning atmosphere. The immediate English response, the simulated appearance of human being, and the movement of the tangible learning companion attracted learners' attention and interest, and hence promoted the learning atmosphere in the English class. And the learning and joyful gaming mode were blended with students interacting with the tangible learning companions. And the two methods, as I just said, were identified. I will skip this part. Oh, this one we say the tangible companion scaffolds students to speak English with the audio-lingual method and provides learners with opportunity to co-discovery learning with each other in English. And we say, okay, as we expected, with the aid of automatic speech recognition-based tangible learning companions, learners won't feel uncomfortable to speak English in front of instructor or others who they are not familiar with. English teachers load and take care of each student in the big classes. And after that, the teacher told us, the learning robot is really like a little TA and can release his or her teaching burden. So the advantage of speech recognition technology brings the flexible opportunities both for teachers and students. So the language learning and the teaching will not be limited to English classroom only. They wanted us to give they would expect to take the learning robot back home, but because we hope we will create more, and they show very high interest to keep that learning robot. Okay, so I think the conclusion, so the tangible learning companion has positive effects on learners' learning motivation, confidence, and engagement. So we want to know how the kids perceive this technology, and they say, okay, it's like interesting toys, robot, peer partners, or patient instructor. Particularly lately, because teachers are very authoritative in students' minds, and with this kind of very friendly learning robot, they say, okay, it's like a very patient instructor, and he doesn't scold me, or blame me, even when sometimes I did not speak English correctly. The robot was very interesting and never complained, so that's why they say, okay, we were very happy with learning with that. So the teacher said it can reduce his or her burden. And that's the final one. The affordances of the learning device will encourage learners to speak English more comfortable and enjoy the process of interactive English learning. And actually, our team are still working on some advanced project, because this only the chip not to afford. The chip is only 60 gigs chip to afford very limited sentences. So in order to cope with the more advanced courses, we need to get a more powerful chip. But now we are using the cloud computing to solve this kind of problem. Yeah, so we are working on a project related to apply the cloud computing with this technology. And the Quantum company just donated 64 nodes cloud computing to our university. So we will have a lot of research work to do. Okay. Thank you.